How you doing, guys? This is Chris with Retro Crypt. It's the birthday of the late boxer Tommy Morrison. It's the birthday of Tommy Morrison. So I figured I'd jump in and do this video about his career, which, you know, he was mostly known for the Rocky movie, Rocky 5. He had a really good career in boxing as well. But again, he's mostly known for Rocky. Not that that's a bad thing.
Violent blows to the head. The effects are reversed.
So this trailer is a bit misleading. It makes you think that Rocky's. They didn't really mention anything about Rocky's mentorship of Tommy, whose name is Tommy the Machine Gun in the movie. See, it's in the hands of a new champion. So they're making you think like Rocky's losing everything and he's gonna fight his way back to the top and fight Tommy in the ring and get his title back, get his house and his cars and everything back.
All that's left is his family. We've been down before. I'll get it all back. His heart.
He's talking about getting it back.
I got problems, I gotta fight. And a dream. A dream to get it all back.
This is a tremendous opportunity.
Opportunity for who? For you to make money for him to be disabled?
So Adrian's playing her usual role.
We can't carry Balboa stuff. As long as they got Balboa on the brain, he'll always be champ. Got to challenge that man to fight. And if he refuses, then you gotta insult him. You gotta dog him. You gotta humiliate him. You gotta do whatever you gotta do to get him into that ring. Tell me, you're a piece of garbage, you know that?
That's it! You told him I'd fight anywhere, anytime.
In the ring, in the ring. Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring.
My ring's outside.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Come on, Tommy, knock me out!
Alright, so basically that's, it doesn't really sum it up because as I said, the trailer is tad misleading. It makes you think that it doesn't really tell you that Rocky essentially mentors Tommy and he turns his back on him. But that's not the only thing that I want to talk about. I wanted to also talk about Tommy Morrison's career a little bit. So Tommy Morrison was a real boxer. He caught the eye of Stallone, who was casting for Rocky 5. Getting a little bit into his life. So Tommy Morrison was born on January 2nd, 1969 in Arkansas. So he was called the Duke, Tommy the Duke Morrison, because he was apparently the grandnephew of John Wayne, who John Wayne's real name was Marion Morrison. So he had a total of 48 wins, professional, 42 KOs, 3 losses, 1 draw. So he was doing pretty well. It says here that his mother's got a fake ID for him so he could fight in toughman competitions. So he was basically fighting and knocking out grown men at 13 years old, which is, gives you an idea of his power. So he got a football scholarship to Emporia State University. The same year he won the regional heavyweight title, the Kansas City Golden Gloves from Donald Ellis. Garnered the Outstanding Fighter Award of the tournament. Lost to Ray Mercer in the so Ray Mercer went on to win gold at the Seoul Olympics. Morrison lost by decision to Ray Mercer in the Olympic trials, and he went on to lose to him again in merciless fashion, pun intended, in the professionals. So, as an amateur, though, Morrison claimed to have 222 fights with 202 wins and 20 losses, which is pretty amazing. So, in 1989, Stallone observed one of Morrison's bouts. Stallone arranged a script reading and cast Morrison in the movie Rocky V as Tommy the Machine Gun, a young and talented protege of the retired Rocky Balboa. So, things were looking really good for him. You know, he apparently had some troubles outside the ring. He got some DUIs, some weapons charges, some drugs, alcohol, and again he was diagnosed with HIV, and that unfortunately derailed his career. At that point, he'd been knocked out a couple times. Not that he was finished by any means, but he was still. That's pretty much like at that time, the treatment wasn't where it is today, and I'm not saying that if this was to happen today, he wouldn't have to retire, but I mean, the treatment is a lot different now, but he did pass away in August of 2013. He said a couple times that the AIDS tests that he took were false positives. One of his advisors or something said that he had tampered with blood samples so he could try and get back into the ring, which is, if that's true, that's horrible. But anyway, let's get into the movie. So the movie was Rocky V was released in 1990 by United Artists. It was directed by John G. Avildsen, who had directed the first Rocky movie. Stallone directed 2, 3, and 4. I think they brought Avildsen back to kind of bring the story full circle. Kind of brought it back to the roots. Its roots. John G. Avildsen also directed Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, as well as Lean on Me and a lot of other movies. So the movie starts out like all Rocky movies. It recaps the last movie. We see Rocky getting pummeled by Drago, eventually winning. Rocky outhearts the indomitable Russian. That was the whole theme of the fourth movie. So basically, Rocky is in the shower. He's shaking, feeling the effects of the bout with Drago. He's very confused. He's shaking. He says he wants to go home. I want to go home, Mick, to Adrian. So they're already right away. He's not himself. You can tell that he's not doing too good. They get back to America. Excuse me. They get back to America. There's a press conference when they get back, and George Washington Duke is there, played by Richard Gant, who's a Don King-like character, saying, "Oh, in America." He's a very slimy boxing promoter, very crooked. And he wants to get Rocky to fight this new challenger called Union Kane. Rocky says he wants to think about it, but Adrian says no. He wants to retire, or he should retire. And the media is pissed off. They're like, "We need an answer now." Duke says, "We'll get him." As one recurring thing, he keeps saying, "We'll get him, we'll get him, we'll get him." So the family gets home, and we have some corny dialogue by Stallone. He says he's gonna take Adrian upstairs and violate her like a parking meter. So that's kind of a theme of the Rocky movies. He's always saying something like some cringy, like pun or a one-liner or something. But, it works in the context of the movie. He's kind of like a punchy boxer. He says silly things in that kind of slow, slurry drawl that he has. If you've seen any of the Rocky movies, you know what I'm talking about. So he's, bonding with his son and stuff. That becomes the theme of the movie. He kind of has a tenuous relationship with his son going forward. So we jump to Paulie. Unfortunately, or unwittingly, and unfortunately, gives power of attorney to a crooked tax attorney who has shady real estate dealings. But he wanted to invest and try and flip some houses, but the market dries up and all the deals fall through. So Rocky loses everything. Then he finds out that he can't get licensed because of brain damage. So it's kind of like a double whammy. He loses all his money and his ability to gain money. So they find out that they got to go back to the old neighborhood. They auction off all their stuff. They're back in Philly in the old gym, Mighty Mix. Then we have the classic flashback of Mick, where we get the get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you line. This scene is filmed really well. It has the desired effect of really kind of tugging at your heartstrings, and it evokes a lot of emotion, and it's filmed really well. I don't know if that's a body double or that's actually Stallone, and they just kind of like hide his face to make him appear younger, because this is supposed to be like in that scene, the flashback, it's supposed to be training for the first fight with Apollo Creed, which was a couple of years prior. So Burgess Meredith looks considerably more aged in this scene, and it's kind of sad. So it ends with Rocky getting Mick giving Rocky his prized cufflink from Rocky Marciano. So we jump over to Rocky moving back into the old house that I'm assuming it looks like the same house that they lived in the first couple movies. So, a bunch of people are congregating on the street trying to talk to Rocky and everything. It shows Duke calling up Adrian, trying to get Rocky back in the ring. We jump over to Rocky bringing his kid to school. He's trying to smarten him up, letting him know that, these kids are kind of different. They're street kids, so you got to watch your back. You got to watch your step. They do the home team line. So we jump back over to the gym. So I guess they didn't really. I feel like they missed an opportunity there to. Because Rocky first walks into the gym, it's all run down. There's like trash everywhere, cobwebs, and then when we go back to the gym again for the second time, it's like completely renovated. They should have showed like Rocky like maybe I could make a living training people, and I'm not gonna be completely dead broke. But small detail, Tommy Gunn is waiting there to meet Rocky. He said he comes all the way from Oklahoma to meet him, and I don't know how he knew he was gonna be there, but he knew. Duke pulls up, tries to get Rocky back in the ring again. This is gonna be a recurring theme where he's just like a dog with a bone trying to get Rocky back and fight again so he can profit off of him. So Adrian's back working at the old pet shop again. It's coming full circle. They got the old director. They got Rocky going back to Mick's gym. They got Adrian working back in the pet shop. They got them back in their old house. Rocky's wearing his old clothes. He's smoking cigarettes. So that's one thing that I like about this movie is it kind of had it went from like Rocky 3 and 4, which were completely unrealistic. Like they became progressively more unrealistic to the point where it's like, is Rocky gonna fight like aliens that come down out of the sky next? So it circles back. And I feel like if they wouldn't have made Rocky Balboa after this, the sixth Rocky movie, this would have been a fitting send off to Rocky. I don't hate this movie. I don't hate this movie at all. Actually, I like it. A lot of people shit on it for obvious reasons. They wanted that, after Rocky 4, it's like they wanted that experience again. But I kind of like how they went back to the realism. But so we go back to, Robert, Rocky's son. He's coming out of school and he gets jumped for his coat. This touches off like a bit of a subplot in the movie where Robert is pretty much, he's put on the back burner and he doesn't know how to fit into his new environment. So we're back at the old gym after this scene. As I said before, Rocky's original corner man is back. I forget his name. It's like a short little guy with like longish hair. So Tommy Gunn comes in to spar. He gets clipped a few times. Then everybody's like, oh, he got hit. They're all kind of like gassing him up. And then he loses his cool and flips out and starts, beating the shit out of his sparring partner. So Rocky is not really impressed with this, even though Tommy wants Rocky to manage him. So, Rocky's like, I'm not a manager. Mick was a manager. I'm not a manager. So, basically, Tommy is waiting on him again outside of the gym. And, he basically, he wears him down to the point where eventually Rocky's like, all right, are you hungry? Like, do you want to come over and have some dinner or something? So obviously, Tommy's kind of like, oh shit, yeah, I'm hungry. Let's go eat. This is my way in. This is my foot in the door. So, again, this is the subplot between Rocky and his son. This creates a rift between Rocky and Robert because, Rocky is so... He's desperate to get back to where he was and feel like, he doesn't want his manhood taken away, obviously. Like, he went from being, like, the champion of the world to now he's, like, back doing bullshit. Basically struggling to survive. So he sees Tommy as a way back. Even if he's not fighting, he could at least be a trainer and manager to this young up-and-comer. So we get a little insight into Tommy's life prior to this. He says that, Rocky's son asked Tommy what he would do for a bully, and you should treat him like a balloon, pop him hard enough and he'll go away. So, Tommy starts telling the family that, his father was an alcoholic and he used to come home and beat him up and da-da-da-da. So the first person he ever knocked out was his father. So this kind of gives you an insight into, Tommy's kind of a tragic figure, kind of like Drago in that respect. Drago was kind of used by the government and everything, and he was pretty much just a propaganda machine. Like, he's the Russian boxer who could beat up any American, and he would carry the Communist Party on his shoulders. Tommy's like the same thing. He's, he comes from this broken home. He doesn't have anything. He travels across the country to meet Rocky and become his protege. And then outside forces pull him away from Rocky, and he kind of, I wouldn't say shows his true colors, because I think he's just an ultimately flawed character, and he just doesn't, he doesn't know where his allegiance lies. He's just kind of like listening to whoever, who, it's easy to get into his head. Easy to get into his head, basically. So Rocky gives Tommy his son's room, which is crazy. Watching this back after a few years, I'm like, wow, like, my wife and I were watching the movie, and she looked at me and, like, her face was like, really? that's terrible. So, yeah, and she's never seen the movie before, so seeing it for the first time, even she was like, wow, that's pretty, like, that's very, there's a lot of, like, misguided, you know, decisions being made in this movie. So I think it shows the realism. It's like there's a lot of people have flaws. It's not like a perfect cut and dry, like, you know, like Rocky is this infallible hero. Like, he just uses his whole heart. You know, he makes bad decisions. You know, he's like you and I. He's just a regular guy. So, he's paying a lot more. Rocky starts to pay more attention to Tommy than his son, because he's trying to recapture the glory days through Tommy. You know, at the cost of the relationship with his son. Rocky and Tommy start training together. Apparently, a brisk jog was enough to get him ready for a fight. We jump to the first fight of Rocky as Tommy's trainer. So the fight takes place at the church that Rocky and Spider Rico fought at in the first movie. Tommy's getting, you know, beat up a little bit, and he doubts himself to go to the corner after the round. And Rocky gives him a pep talk, says, you know, you got to use fear to your advantage, let it bottle up until it's ready to explode, which kind of foreshadows events in the future, because Tommy kind of has misguided fears and anger towards Rocky, and he lets it explode, and he goes in the complete wrong direction of where he was supposed to go, essentially. So we get the time-honored training / tune-up fight montage / Robert training for his bully scene. So it shows Rocky and Tommy essentially bonding through training and fight, getting Tommy ready for his fights, while Robert trains at the gym without his father. So the news, and it also shows newspapers are gassing it up like Tommy is Rocky's robot / Rocky's boy, his robot. They're not really giving him much respect. They're just saying, you know, they got Rocky on their mind, and that's all they're seeing. They're just seeing Rocky. They're just seeing Tommy as Rocky's protege, and that's that. So we see Duke, George Washington Duke, eyeing up Tommy. He's in the crowd watching Tommy's fights. He wants to scoop him up. It kind of reminded me of when Mr. T was eyeing up Rocky, sitting in the crowd of his fights in Rocky 3. We jump over to Robert confronting his bully and beating him up, and the kid that Robert knocks out is actually, I forgot his name in real life, but it's the kid from Entourage, and he was in I think Unhappily Ever After. That show, it was kind of like with the talking bunny. It was kind of like Married with Children rip. So we get Duke weaseling his way in eventually, and he sets up Tommy with this big-breasted redhead who's pretty hot. So Tommy is pretty much getting sick of the comparison between him and Rocky. You know, it shows him reading the newspaper, and he's like throws it. He gets so fed up he throws it at Rocky's belt. You know, he's very flawed and weak-minded. He wants to jump ahead of. He wants to jump the line and get that title shot. I don't know. It kind of. I don't know if Rocky was trying to protect him or he was trying to hold him back. He said he was trying to protect him, and protect him from the slimy elements of the boxing business. But it kind of, to me, when I was watching it back, it kind of made me feel like Rocky was holding him back a little bit. I was like, this is what you want, and he's knocking motherfuckers out like left and right. So just, put him in the title shot and get him the title shot essentially. So we jump over to it's Christmas time, and Rocky's like, "Where's Tommy? Maybe he's stuck in traffic." Yada yada yada. But we show Tommy at Duke's Christmas party. He's getting finessed. They showed him, getting his first, I guess it was a condo or an apartment, from Duke. He gave him the keys. He was trying to butter him up because a guy that just, he comes from a broken home and has nothing but the clothes on his back in a duffel bag. Obviously, it's gonna be easy to manipulate this guy, especially if he feels like he's not getting what he needs and what he deserves. Not that I'm justifying him turning his back on Rocky, but Duke is a slime ball and he knows exactly what he's doing. He finds out that there's no contract between Tommy and Rocky, just a handshake agreement. So, Duke pretty much says, he could stay on as your trainer, no problem, but just sign with me and I'll get you the title shot. Here's $20,000. So we jump back over to Rocky's house. There's an embarrassing Santa scene where Paulie comes down the stairs and says, "Yo, yo, yo." The kid from Entourage says, "Hey, we got a 90 proof Santa." That I actually laughed out loud. I forgot about that line. That was actually really funny. Robert blows up on Rocky, says he's changed, and he has. He's changed quite a bit. He's pretty much just given his all to Tommy, which, Rocky's kind of in a no-win position here. It's like he has to get his life back, and he has to do it fast, and unfortunately it comes at the relationship of his, comes at the cost of his relationship with his son, but again, it shows the flawed nature of characters. It shows a lot of growth in character development. So I definitely give them points for that. It's not, just Rocky's, almost damn near invincible. So Duke and Tommy pull up, and, Duke is pretty much giving Rocky the lowdown, like, he wants to go with me. It's time to put some muscle behind this muscle. He says this like 45 times in this movie. And, Tommy tells Rocky he's going to go with Duke. He doesn't want the parade going by. Says he's 22-0 and it's time for the title. Rocky is explaining to Tommy that he's trying to protect him, like Mick protected him. Tommy says, "I'm not you, you're not Mick," which is, kind of a low line to say. And then he peels off. We get the first flashback of Rocky, like he holds his head and he's like seeing visions of Drago beating his head in from the past movie. Excuse me. Rocky decides it's a good time to make up with his son, finally. So they're back on good terms. We jump over to the family in I guess Robert got his room back. They're down in the basement watching Tommy win the title. Apparently he serves Union Cane. And in his victory speech, he thanks the angel in his corner, George Washington Duke, and the crowd, understandably is not too impressed with this, and they boo him out of the building. This goads Tommy into fighting. Well, that not only that, but all the newspapers and Duke getting in his head. Duke is constantly saying, you got to get Rocky in the. If you're ever going to be accepted, you have to beat Rocky. because everybody only thinks about Rocky at this point. Rocky never officially won the title. Union Kane was just a paper champion, and he seemed kind of sluggish out there. So, like, how are we gonna accept you as a champion? So pretty much, again, Rocky. Tommy is a very flawed and tragic character. He never is really taken seriously. He's kind of looked at like, Johnny Come Lately. He starts off as a bum, and he gets up to the top of the ladder in the boxing world, and he pretty much started from the bottom and went straight to the top. But nobody accepts him because he kind of had a less than favorable falling out with Rocky, who was universally loved. So we have the press conference, and the reporters are saying, you'll never be Rocky, and he storms out. They storm out. Duke is screaming on Tommy right now and gassing him up to fight Rocky. I don't know. I guess the championship fight maybe took place at the Philadelphia Spectrum. I'm assuming because he's able to get down to Andy's bar in like the next scene essentially. He wins the title, and he doesn't. It looks like he didn't even shower. He just jumped in the car and just fucking hauled ass all the way over to and just happened to know that Rocky was going to be at Andy's bar. So he goes into the bar. He's in the street at this point. Tommy is, and he's screaming, come out, fight me, this, that, and the third. They got the cameras there. Tommy goes inside, continuously goads Rocky into fighting him. He's saying, we were tight, but I'm not gonna fight you, essentially. And then Paulie shoots his mouth off, gets punched in the mouth. That prompts Rocky to go fight Tommy. They scuffle ensues. Rocky seems like he beats him quickly. Duke says, you gotta, if you lose to him, you're finished. At this point, Tommy gets up. They're fighting in the street, and this scene, as I was saying before, they said that I read somewhere that Rocky was essentially going to die in this scene, and that was going to kind of cap off the franchise, so they couldn't make any more movies. But test audiences didn't like this, understandably, and it just changed to they get into a street fight. It kind of again circles back. Rocky is kind of a knucklehead in Philly, and he pretty much he just gets in a street fight. We see a little bit of the Rocky from the first movie, who's like a lone shark, breaking thumbs for like a local crook. They probably should have brought back Mr. Gazzo from the first movie. That would have been a nice touch. For at least for a cameo. I forgot, there was a couple of good lines in here. Rocky says, you knocked him down, why don't you try knocking me down? And Duke says, only in the ring. Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring. Rocky says, my ring's outside, let's do it. So they commence the fighting. Rocky gets clipped a few times. He gets dazed. We get some more flashbacks of Drago. Then we get the famous, get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you. This powers Rocky back up, apparently. So Rocky starts fighting dirty. He kind of starts doing some wrestling shit. He gets he like hooks Tommy's arm and starts punching him in the stomach. He does like a drop toe hold. He does some like weird ass trip maneuver with his arm. At one point, fucking Rocky suplexes him. kind of it caps off with the dinner punch, dinner punch, and then Tommy flies into a bus. So it was kind of like, it had all the usual pacing and the cues from any other Rocky movie where it was like the victory punches. 1, 2, 3, 4. He flies into the bus. He gets arrested. Duke says, "Hey, outclass the bum." Trying to butter up Rocky after all the bullshit he put him through. Rocky looks at him like the scumbag that he is, and Duke's like, "Oh, touch me and I'll sue." And then Rocky knocks him out, thankfully. And he says, "Sue me for what? I'm already broke. You took my protege from me. Took everything. At least he has his dignity." So it caps off with, Rocky and Robert going up the stairs of the original, of the museum. I forget the name of it. But, it's a nice ending moment. And then we get a montage in the credits of past Rocky movies. So, all in all, I really liked Rocky V. I thought it was quite a good movie. Understandably, people were pretty divided on it. They didn't really, I wouldn't say they're divided. I think people just hated Rocky V in general. I did not. I actually liked Rocky V. I just wanted to play. Doing this on the PlayStation 4 controller is really annoying. I wanted to play this final fight scene. So it's a couple minutes long. Let's check it out. So it's shot really well. Tommy Morrison played a good villain. He is very menacing. See, even now, like, Tommy doesn't know he doesn't even know who to listen to. You get a little bit of redemption for Paulie here, because he's the reason why they're broke at this point. Yeah, he gave you your shot, not Duke.
What are you worth then, huh? Oh, are you okay? You should have left him on the street where you found him. Get off me, man! Right now, huh? Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Get him out of here, brother! Tommy, get off me!
You knocked him down. Why don't you try knocking me down?
No. In the ring! Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring! Get out of here.
My ring's outside.
Yeah? Let's do it. Come on, Tommy! Let's go live! Go live! Come on here!
Yeah, that was probably the best acting performance by Tommy Morrison in the whole movie, that line. Plus it gives you more insight. Nobody knows me, I want my respect.
I love you, man. You know that? Me were supposed to be like this, Tommy. You blew it.
Yeah, there ain't no coming back from that.
Lucky punch, but he's a street fighter. And I told you never to fight a street fighter fight. So come on, let's get out of here. Come on. You're always a champ, Rocky. Great.
Those left hooks were dangerous. That's what he was known for, is his left hook. I'm gonna cut it off here because I don't want to get copyrighted. I know this is on YouTube, but I'm not trying to get fucked over for copyright. So, yeah, I just wanted to do that video for Tommy Morrison. It's his birthday. He would have been, not a math person here, let me see. What did I say? He was born in 69, so what, 57 or 54? 50. Again, not a math person. Hold on. 54. Okay, I was right. All right, that was my Rocky V review / Tommy Morrison career retrospective. Thank you guys for tuning in. Later.